What I actually think is going to prove to be quite an important historical moment in South Africa's recovery into being a truly constitutional state. My name is John Clark. I'm a social worker, and you might wonder, what on earth is a social worker doing in this sort of difficult waters? Well, briefly, just to explain a little bit about how I got here, it will also help frame why I believe this is such an important event. I was very involved for the last 20 or so years with the Kolobeni mining conflict in working to support the Amadiba community to essentially actualize their human rights. And we have seen a great success that community have now managed to secure through the courts the right to serving police officers who have been dismissed through weaponized use of disciplinary procedures because they are trying to challenge the corruption that they see. I mentioned just one, Patricia Machelo, who is a whistleblower in the Free State, who has been speaking out against the corruption in the firearms registry. She is, fortunately now, the South African Human Rights Commission has taken up her case because they illegally seized her cell phones and they've been subjecting her to a terrible ordeal. So the Whistleblowers for Change group is really just a support group, informal, to basically ensure that there's solidarity, because so that we know of each other to keep going. And it's really something where, as the media, we are essential partners. We wouldn't know the stories of whistleblowers if they hadn't been told by journalists, Mandy, so many others of you. They are your sources as journalists, and you have experienced how sometimes they are frightened, they don't know what to do. So that's really why I'm wanting to say this is, for me, a really important occasion for us to now tackle an issue which is very complex and very fraught with all sorts of narratives, claims, false narratives. And Dan, from his long experience, having worked as a police officer for 19 years, who then studied for a law degree while he was a policeman, and is now qualified as an advocate, has been representing clients that nobody else really wants to, and often finding that there is serious miscarriages of justice. In the beginning of December, we had a press conference on the Senzo Meyiwa story, and in the media release, I sent out a link to that. And Dan is now going to update us on that, and then tell us about the latest clients that have come his way. So to start us off, Dan's asked me to play two quick clips, which give some framing for it. So I just need to quickly get done with those. And thank you to, and apologies to ENCA for using your material, Barry. Okay.
Senzo Meyiwa was shot dead. I'm happy to announce it. Today marks exactly 6 years since former Bafana and Orlando Pirates captain Senzo Meyiwa was shot dead. I'm happy to announce that there's been a breakthrough in the Senzo Meyiwa murder case. The first 5 suspects have been arrested.
You can watch the rest on my YouTube channel. Time is of the essence. Let me show you the other ones. Desktop. Just need to share the screen. We'll cut it.
Of the South African Press Association. I just wanted to ask please, the issue of simply this is a matter of public national interest, and this is why we thought it is important for us to then come as police to do one particular thing, to confirm the fact that we indeed have arrested Mr. Grechka. Let me start off by saying Mr. Grechka, an associate, are to appear in court on charges of kidnapping and attempted murder.
Let me take the first round of questions. So we're going to take 3 at a time.
But the suspects are in safe custody. As we are saying, we'll be communicating with the lawyers because we also are concerned about the welfare, the safety of the suspects. We will not be publicly indicating where they are, but we shall comply with the law and be able to inform the lawyers about where they are kept in safe custody in our police cells.
What is going to be different about this case? Do you actually believe that you have?
Yes, we are cooperating with Interpol, and it is one of the processes that is in court. So the SAPS is fully cooperating with Interpol.
So if you've identified a threat against Mr. Crouch, what are you doing about that threat?
There was an issue around attempted murder. Indeed, I mean, when you talk about grievous bodily harm, we would say there is a case for attempted murder, and that we probably will look into those when we deal with this matter in court around the kidnapping as well as assault GBH.
Christian, I have been in the country. You arrived in the country with a fake passport.
All right, I think maybe what we should do is
Any chance, since he arrived here on a fake passport,
Okay, Dan, you can explain what it's all about, and then later we will have conversation. We've got Golden Miles Budu here, and Nastasja. He will talk as well and just give us and answer questions. And my hope is that this will be an opportunity for us to further heal our land. Dan, do you want to take the seat here? Okay.
Okay. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I am Advocate Malesela Daniel Teffo. As John stated, and the main purpose to be here is to address about the two important cases that the clips were shown. I'm the role player as a legal representative. In the first clip, which shows the press conference of the police, where the former National Commissioner, the disgraced reappeared, addressing the issue in relation to the beginning of the activity pertaining to Mr. Radovan Kresha. Currently, I find myself to be a participant in the sense of a legal representative. The case is in before the South Gauteng High Court in Johannesburg. The presiding officer is one Justice Musimeki. There are 4 accused in the matter. It's accused number 1 up to 4. I'm representing accused number 1 and 2, as well as 3. Then we have got Nastasja Ostrebski. It's the lady on my right hand side. Is the attorney, private attorney of Mr. Kresha. So in this matter, the 3 accused, 1 and 2, being accused number 1, Mr. Mia, Siboniso Mia, number 2, Nkanyiso Mafunda, number 3, Mr. Mamela. These are considered to be the
recording in progress.
These are considered to be the Kresha associates as per the press conference of the police back in 2013 by the former National Commissioner Pierre. Currently, as it has been stated by John, you can even read on our media advisory, it's all about justice. In this too. That's why I took 2 typical cases. These 2 cases, the Kresha case and the Senzo Meyiwa's case, they've got the similarities. Starting with the current case of Mr. Kresha and two clients of mine, is that on the 2nd of February, the 3rd and the 4th, the proceedings were on at the South Gauteng High Court. As it has been stated, that indeed this was a matter of national public interest. Initially, I think you can bear evidence or bear testimony with me to say that initially, as the media, you all had interest. The Johannesburg High Court was a media hub because of this, the interest that this case had in the public. Recently, myself, I came on the board in this matter with my private attorney, and I'm the counsel in this matter. I came on the 15th of November, 2021. Then, officially on record, it was on the 26th of November when the matter started. When the matter starts, I was given the transcript because on the 9th of January 2022, this matter was 8 years. People were awaiting trial for 8 years in custody, in prison, which is a serious miscarriage of the justice. We are talking about the breadwinners here, the husbands, who haven't been with their family for the Christmas days for 8 years. Matter is not going anywhere before the court. There are a lot of unnecessary delay, which can be blamed to the police, the prosecution, and the judge, the court itself, in this matter. So the last time this matter adjourned, as I said, it was on the 4th of February. And then the matter will be back in court on the 21st of February, which is next week, Monday. So what surprised me when I arrived, or the time I started to be part of this proceedings in this matter. The matter, actually the citation of the matter is that it's a Mia, Siboniso Mia, and 3 others. That's a citation of the matter. Is the case number SS163 of 2015, whereby accused 1 up to 3 are alleged to be the hitmen of Mr. Kresha. And Mr. Kresha himself, as accused number 4, is the mastermind, alleged to be mastermind in this matter. My being on the board, insofar as this matter is concerned, it made a judge unsettled, to be unsettled. This happened, or the evidence of this, it was on the 4th of February, when the court proceedings stopped abruptly by the judge. And unilaterally so, the judge postponed the matter to the 21st of February of 2022. The case at hand to say that for as long as this matter is going to proceed the way it's proceeding before this court, we really don't see our client getting the justice before this court. Because the things that are happening in that court, to me, as a legal practitioner for 10 years, I've never come across such a situation whereby the biasness of the court is so obvious. You don't have to have studied the law to understand that the court is with the state here. Before I come on the board in this matter, there were a lot of applications which were brought in protection of the rights of the accused. But all these applications were dismissed. without any proper reason given by the court. At some stage, the court will make it clear to the defense to say, I am interested in seeing the clients, in seeing the witnesses of the state, because at the moment, the case is a state case. On the box or on the dock are the witnesses of the state. So the court is only interested to hear the evidence of the state and the evidence be finalized, and then the defense bring the witnesses if they do have, and they finish. Therefore, the verdict has to come and the sentence. And we could see as the defense that this is a predetermined guilty verdict. This is a predetermined 15 to 25 years, respectively, of sentence for these 4 accused, whose rights have been grossly violated by the state. And to primary or to secondary to that, by the court. As I said, that my being present on this matter has ruffled the feathers from the side of the state to the court. On the 17th of January this year, it was an appearance, but it was clear that the matter won't proceed. We were in the chambers of Judge Msimeki, where we took almost 1.5 hours discussing the plight of our clients. Mr. Kresha in court is represented by the legal aid, and it's called the Judicial, is Advocate Naidu. The accused number 3 is also represented by the legal aid, and the Judicial is Advocate Nkuna. Privately, myself and my attorney representing accused 1 and 2, those are for private mandate. Our concern was that it was me, because I never actually had much time to consult with my client. The only time when you can consult, that's when the clients are at court. Why we cannot consult with our client is because initially our client were, okay, let me say this first. The issue of crash started with the so-called Domino Project, which started from Pretoria by the National Commissioner. And the Domino Project was headed by General Sithole. By the time in 2013, he was the Lieutenant General, he was the Deputy National Commissioner of Ms. Ria Pierre. Domino Project has the budget of 600 million for that. So it was said that any successful conviction of Mr. Kresha, the stakeholders from the police, because this matter, when it started, the investigation was multifaceted, multidisciplinary. There were the police from the crime intelligence, the Hawks, the forensic, the general detective in the police, the TRTs. Those is a team arranged by Lieutenant General Sithole, the then Deputy National Commissioner of Ms. Ria Pierre, to investigate. And there was also some incentives for the success conviction, whereby the police, obviously the incentive for the police will be the promotion. And it happened. Mr. Kresha was convicted. My clients were convicted. Mr. Kresha was given 25 years. My clients were given 15 years. Then those who were promoted, the promise
recording stopped
from General Sithole and the then National
recording in
Commissioner
progress.
reappear, it was complied with. There were a lot of police who were promoted, but among them, they were promoted to the different ranks. But there are those who are more beneficial for the conviction of my clients and Mr. Kresha. I'll talk about that later. So, however, even though some they were not happy as they were not promoted despite the promise. And then there were a lot of the grievances were lodged by the police. As of now, I'm not only representing the matter in the criminal. Due to my background, I'm doing those criminal law and the labor law. I'm also representing some of the police who were not promoted after the conviction of my client and crasher. The cases are at the bargaining council, SSBC, for the promotion in this matter. There's a lot of what I can call, many of the police are demoralized. No wonder you saw the July 7 last year. It's a part of that, but I'm not in that. I'm just saying that there's a lot of the grievances currently, despite the fact that ultimately the former National Commissioner Ria Piera and the National Commissioner Sitole now, they've delivered the mandate. But the mandate to the mandate to the police is not delivered. That's why there's such a demoralized situation. So now back to this current situation. I raised the issue on the 17th of January while we were in the office of Justice Msimeki. I said, Justice Msimeki, I understand that there is a court order that granted a media coverage in this matter. He confirmed that. But I said, no, but why? We don't see the media now attending. The justice said media has lost interest because every time the media come here, there is nothing that happens, only the application of recusal of the lawyers and all these things. And everything was blamed on accused number 4, Mr. Kresha. That Kresha is chopping and changed the lawyers. So that's where the media lost interest. But now, I need to be somehow to believe the reason of the judge. So I said, okay, it's fine. Can I try to, all right, hook that interest back again of the media? Then the justice says, talk to your brother here, the prosecutor. Prosecutor in this matter is Advocate Kumalo. So that's fine, we'll talk about that. It's not an issue. Then outside, I indicate to Mr. Kumalo. Mr. Kumalo was clear that he is not interested in the media. So, long story short, the media has been deprived the right to come and televise the whole issue because the case is no longer in favor of the state, as like initially. There are a lot of things that are happening in that court. So, my having contacted the ENCA, a responsible person in terms of the court issues, I was blamed by the prosecutor. I was lambasted on the second time when we appeared before the court, on the 2nd of February, as to I'm so ill-disciplined, I'm unprofessional, how can I unilaterally call the media to come? Then I didn't have much to respond because I said to judge, you remember we've agreed on that and you don't have a problem with that. More so, it's not about even about you saying the media, yes, media can come. It's the fact that there is a media coverage that has been granted initially. And as Ms. Pierre said, this matter has got the public national interest. So why is it now things need to be curtailed from the media? See, so in that court, you will be mistaken to be somewhere in, I'm not sarcastic about our African country or elsewhere. When you come in that court, 6B, Johannesburg, the gallery is full of the police with this big assault rifle, R5s, the TRTs, your ESTs from the prison. You've got, this is a big one. This is the biggest one. That I lost it on the 3rd before Judge Msimeki. Judge Msimeki in that court It's got a serious protection. 10 bodyguards for the judge in court, when in the private. I even asked him, who is in danger here, or who's dangerous here? Because I need to know, as a lawyer, if the judge can have a 10 bodyguards, and the prosecutor always, when he comes there, is accompanied by the same bodyguards. And these bodyguards are not private bodyguards, are the bodyguards from the VIP, from South African Police Service. How on earth can the police, in the case where they believe that they've got a strong case against the accused, they are themselves who are arranging the protection of the judge? This thing does not make a sense, legally and otherwise. It's just clear that somehow the court will be influenced, because the police will say, we need a conviction here, and we need a sentence that we need. Hence, we are protecting you to make sure that you deliver the mandate of the police. I don't have a problem with the prosecution. Naturally, the prosecution has to be hostile anyway. But the police cannot just show the biasness on the side of the judge of the court to say, we'll protect you as long as you deliver our mandate. That's how we see this situation. And then the relatives of the accused are refused to come to court. The media has been refused to come to court. It has been bad. I tried on my side. I've managed to call some of those I can call, even from the print media. They were stopped 10 meters away from the entrance of that court. So you are not needed. So when they said, okay, we want to see Advocate Teffo, they said, okay, they will come. The bodyguards of the judge. Then there's someone want to see you. There. I have to go there to see someone from the media. So, ladies and gentlemen, the purpose of this is to expose the current situation, what is going on in that court. And then you also bear testimony if indeed you have lost interest of this crucial matter. And I wouldn't understand at which stage, because to say the interlocutory application brought by accused number 4 is the thing that discouraged the media to come and to continue covering this matter. The court need to tell someone else somewhere about that. So this matter is back on the 21st of February. We also saying to the media, you've got the right to exercise your right. And before I forget, after I spoke to Judy Jacobs last in relation to R&Ds, I also spoke to one Lusanda Ntuli. Lusanda Ntuli is a deputy director in communication in the office of the Chief Justice. I spoke to her about this. She said, no, Advocate Teffo, you don't actually, your attempt to call the media to come is inconsequential, because the media has to come in anyway. The media is a representative of the public anyway. So you don't have to, and no one has got the right to blame you. You don't have to go and waste your time, go and call the media, or take your time as if you are the convener of the media. The media has to go in that court to represent the public to see the justice, if there is any justice that is happening there. Advocate Naidu, as we were also complaining about, actually from the 2nd to the 4th of February, our issue before the court was the issue of media and the issue of transfer of our client to one prison. What is happening there? My client have been transferred from Sun City, taken to, one is taken to Sonderwater, other one is in Binoni. See, accused number 3 is in Hoshimampuru. These people are attending the court in Johannesburg. And you can see that the areas or the prison centers where they've been transferred to, They've got nothing to do with the jurisdiction of their court. The poor gentlemen, they are getting inhuman treatment because you can see that there is a mandate to say this, you must deal with them. So we were bringing that application to say, can you please take our client back to Sun City where they were taken before without even following the procedure. In terms of Section 43 and Section 45 of the Correctional Service Act, 111 of 1998, there's a procedure before you can transfer a prisoner to another correctional center. But those were not followed. And those were done by the instruction of SAPS from the Office of the National Commissioner, General Setole, in consultation with his own counterpart on top, at the high level. So in the police sector, because I've been there, when someone come, a junior, and want to do something to someone who's a senior somewhere, we'll drop the name. We'll say no. The name of General Setole will be dropped. They say no, this is instruction from above. Then if you are the person who must deliver something, you don't have to question. If it can be said, it's instruction from above. You have to comply with the instruction from above. And you don't have to ask above, who's above? Because above is a faceless, but it's a fearful person. It's a hoha. It's something that you can terrorize someone to deliver. You see. So there is this person in the above office, Brigadier Bongani Nicholas Keninga. This is the person who is doing the things to happen. As I said, these two typical cases, in both cases, Keninga is a leading investigator who imposed himself. He imposed himself in those. So now, when we were making our submission before the court, on the 2nd and the 4th, we were saying, issue number 1, transfer our clients back to the place where it's convenient for us to consult. Because myself, I cannot go and consult with my client in Zonervater, which is more than 120 kilometers out of the court of jurisdiction. And thereafter, I have to go and consult again another client in the Boksbeek or Benoni area. It's not cost friendly, and it's inconvenience for anyone. And that, I can say, it was the purpose to cause inconvenience so that we don't get a proper consultation. I was so stickingly painful to hear my colleague, Advocate Naidu, before Judge Msimeki, to say, look, I visited my client, accused number 4, Mr. Kresha, at Leukop. I was made to wait for 3 hours. And when the time to consult with the client, I was given 30 minutes. And in a just small case, and here are the police, the prison warders, they've got the phones. I don't know whether they were recording my consultation with my client or what. Advocate Naidu is a woman. They don't have a time, those guys there. They would harass her, saying, finish, you are finished. And if one day, it was on the 3rd of February, because I had this colleague of mine complaining about the conditions of her client at Leukop, which are so inhumane. Sometimes, as some said, he was assaulted, and he was refused the right to go and see the doctor. So after we have been in the chambers, Naidu requested that, my lord, may I ask that after we finish here, can I consult with my client for 30 minutes? Then the court agreed when we were in the chambers. But practically after that, the prison warders and the police, they say, no, you are not going to consult this person far away from us. Consult here. And they will stand here, the police and the prison warders. Say, no, consult with. Is it clear? These people have got a mandate. And they are jiving to the mandate. They are complying to the mandate. that mandate from above. I can say not who. God knows. This is a situation that our client are. I was given, as I said, I was given on the last year, December, before the recess. The judge said, because Advocate Teffo, you are the new person here, and then we're not gonna wait for you, and you're not gonna hold this proceeding at ransom. When we start with this matter next year, 2022, 17th of January, you must hit the ground running. We are going to send you all the transcripts, all the happenings in this court. About 17,000 pages. I have to read the whole of festive season last year. And I did, because I want to make sure that my client get justice. I had to make sure that I become conversant with the whole proceeding that happened before me, because I was so surprised that there were a lot of applications which were refused, and the court cannot even give the reason. And the court has made it clear to say, if you guys have got any problem with the state, you want to bring in application, bring application next door. Fortunately, this is Johannesburg High Court. They've got a motion courts around us here. I don't want to be part of any dispute between the state and defense. If you do have any that kind of a interlocutory application pertaining to the proceeding here, deal it with outside another court. I ask myself, how can that happen? Why is this judge doesn't want to entertain the dispute between the defense and the state? Doesn't want to mediate. What is only interested in is just to, I need the evidence. Let the evidence proceed. I just want to see myself giving the verdict and the sentence. This matter is closed. The new chapter. That we are on the phase 2 of the Domino Project. The phase 1 has happened with another judge. That's where people get 25 years, 25 years, and 10 years plus become 35 years, and others got 15 years. In the first Domino Project, the decision was so shocking to my client per se. Accused number 1, he was given 15 years for allegation of dealing with the drugs or possession of the drugs, which were never tested, which were never even brought before the court as evidence. Someone get 15 years for the drugs which were never tested, for the drugs which were never even seen. No expert was ever called to come and test, this is a drug or what? I'm sorry. This is a situation that is the first phase of Domino Project. And then, as we heard, our Honorable former National Commissioner, Mr. Pierre, she was saying, Mr. Kreska and associate are arrested. They are put in the police cells, and then we'll cooperate with their lawyers. We'll inform their lawyers where these people are. That never happened. I rebut that. That has never happened. And there was never even the involvement of Interpol. It has never happened. So ultimately, you charge the person with assault GPH, and then there's the kidnapping. What is a puzzling here in the statement of the National Commissioner, former National Commissioner? She is not so sure as to Kresha and associate how they must be charged or how they are charged. I understand that Ms. Pierre is not a police officer. She not even did street law or the one-day course, whatever. She was in a corporate. Now he's a National Commissioner and is getting into the things that are happening in the police. She was saying the charge is kidnapping, assault GPH, which she is not so sure whether assault GPH should be considered to be attempted murder or what? Because you cannot say that the person is charged with assault, GBH, and the attempted murder, referring to the same scenario. You'll remember, this is in the public domain anyway. It is something that has been dealt with in the first phase. I'm happy to say this, to explain the scenario in this regard. It was alleged that somebody was kidnapped and accused number 4 poured that person with the boiling water. That's where assault GBH comes. Yes, I will agree. If indeed there's someone kidnapped and then you pour the hot water. Hot water is an instrument of aggravation. So it's relevant to be GBH if that had happened. But now you cannot say at the same time that is attempted murder. You can't. See, it's an assault GBH. Finish. Forget about attempted murder. And in that regard, somebody was given 25 years for assault GBH, which never had the J88. For your information, J88 was concocted anyway. It was done later. You can go and see the gentleman who alleged to have been poured with the hot water. The guy is nice. There's no even a scar that you can bet. But somebody got 25 years. And then when it comes to, as I said, I've already said that, stated that in relation to accused 1 and 2, they were given 15 years for the drugs that were never tested. They were never even seen by the expert whether these are the drugs or what. They call it ice cold something. We don't know what is ice cold. Then you can see the issue of a mandate. Then I come to, all right, I was saying the issue of the justice. That's where we see the justice is not happening. The police, in cooperation with the state, here there is a serious intervention or interference from the police. In this matter, we say, in our country, our jurisprudence, we say you are innocent until proven guilty by the court of law. But in this regard, and again, all right, there is this maxim again in our prosecuting fraternity that our investigations, our criminal investigation in this country, we say is the prosecutorial led. The prosecutor will guide the police in the investigation, not other way around. In this regard, we see the police, the leading investigating officer, Brigadier Kininda, showing the prosecution what must be done. And the prosecution is listening to this police. We know when you've got the docket, the prosecutor will give you the instructions. But now the police will do the own instruction and go and talk to the prosecutor, say, no, this is what I'm considering to do. And the prosecutor, surprisingly, will agree with the police. Actually, the prosecution in this regard has got no contribution at all, because the conviction and the sentence is something that is needed by the police. Actually, it's a mandate from the police. And I don't want to talk about, now today is not the time to talk about the root cause or the source of the mandate to General Sithole and Kininda. That is other way around. Today we just want to make sure, entice the media interest to say, come back in this matter and come and flight this thing and show the whole country what is happening. As we are, as the lawyers of these 4 accused, we are supporting each other. Yes, my Advocate Nkuna, Advocate Naidu, they cannot be here as they are judicare of the legal aid. Legal aid is a state anyway. When you need to be returned by the legal aid, you must know that they've got their limitation. The people working for the legal aid, they are getting their salary from the state. They cannot buy the hand that is feeding them. So myself, I'm a target because I'm from the private. And as a private, I have to do the best that I can do to make sure that my clients are represented in this matter. And that's what I'm doing. And I'm challenging the power that be. This is what is happening. Then on the matter of, as I've already said, this has got the budget. People were promised the promotions, and the promotions happen from the police to the high level, in the prosecution, in the judiciary. People were promised. That one is for another day. Who has been promoted, who is not being promoted? In both the police, the prosecution, and the judiciary. So, as John has highlighted that, we were wondering why things are happening the way they are happening at court. Not knowing that the state capture has spread its wings everywhere, even to the judiciary, even in the courts. The state capture is there. That is for another day. Then back to, it was on the 13th of December, John, last year, when we had a press conference about the latest information or twist in the Senzo Meyiwa's case. And then it was followed by my interview on the 22nd of December on SABC about the Senzo's development. The current situation is that the delay, as I said, on the 26th of October last year, 2021, the matter of Senzo was 7 years since. And then during 2020, when as the Minister of Police has indicated that there is a breakthrough, 5 suspects have been arrested in relation to the matter of former Bafana Bafana and Orlando Pirates keeper, Senzo Robert Meyiwa. May his soul rest in peace. It's heart-rendering. It's heart-rendering if you can see the condition of the family of Meyiwa. He was a breadwinner. The family became the victim of justice system in this country. Justice system in this country is so cruel. I've been appointed in November 2020 as a watching brief in this matter of the Meyiwa's death by his brother Senzo Meyiwa. Before the arrest of the so-called 5 accused, the family approached AfriForum to assist them, because all along the family has been saying, why police can't you do the right thing? Arrest the relevant people. And the relevant people are those who were in the same house when Senzo was shot. And the address is known. And the people are known. The number of the people is known. There are 7, excluding the minor. Those people cannot be arrested until on the 25th of October 2020, when we were told by this Minister of Police, Mr. Bekitele, the former disgraced National Commissioner of Police, who failed in the police. Come the appointment of President Ramaphosa. On the 26th of February 2018, Mr. Kele was appointed the Minister of Police, having failed as the National Commissioner. And the President, with due respect, Mr. Ramaphosa, came and ascended that throne at the Union Building with a ticket of anti-corruption, to fight corruption. If you really, Mr. President, you are serious, you want to fight the corruption, how on earth, if you want to fight corruption, especially in the police, how on earth you would appoint someone who failed at the grassroots as a national commissioner? You appoint this person as a minister now. You elevate him. The minister of the police in this country is a senior post, cabinet post. But you appoint someone who has failed the nation. Not only failed and dismissed, he was dismissed with serious allegations of conflict or involvement of 1.7 billion of the state building during the 2010 World Soccer Cup in this country. Now he's a minister of the police. Despite the adverse report, 2 adverse reports of the former public protector, Professor Thuli Madonsela, saying that indeed, after investigation, this is a report, I have found that National Commissioner of the Police, number 1, he violated the PFMA regulations. He was conflicted. He is dishonest. Then from those reports, the then former President Zuma didn't stop there. He appointed commission, which was led by Justice Jake Mloyi, the late, may his soul rest in peace, to investigate the fitness of Mr. Cele as the National Commissioner of South African Police Service, which it happened. We all know the outcome and the report and the recommendation of the Mloyi Commission. Amongst them, which I fail to understand, why would the president who got in the parliament, who got in the cabinet, who got in the union building seat with a ticket of being anti-corrupt, want to come and clean the corruption in the police, would appoint someone whose commission found to have been dishonest? Number 1, that's the commission report of Mloyi. Didn't go far. Find the same way as the public protector found, and the worst and telling findings that President Ramaphosa will go down in the history of this country in a very bad way as the president. The commissioner of Mloyi is saying Mr. Cele cannot hold a public office in this country. He is dishonest. But come the appointment of Ramaphosa, the new dawn, no, he disregarded the recommendation of the Mloyi Commission, and which forced the former President Zuma to have no alternative but to fire Mr. Cele. But Ramaphosa will bring him back. And we all know now. We have seen the 7th of July last year, what we saw. This is the indictment on Ramaphosa. Everyone is complaining now. And for your information now, last year I also wrote a dossier about a telling corruption that is happening in the office of the National Commissioner. And I sent to the President about what is happening in the office of National Commissioner. And I also indicated that there is a serious corruption, and the hostility between the National Commissioner and the Minister is not good for the people of South Africa. It's not good for our safety and security. How can you allow, as a President, allow your Minister and the DG in a crucial sector, or sector, I'm referring to the cabinet, whereby these people are responsible for the safety and security of the inhabitants, of us here. We are not safe. These people are fighting, and we don't know why they are fighting. But for information, because I know, they are fighting for their own personal issues. They are fighting for the promotions of the police. Sitwala will promote certain police officers who will support him, and Kele has got his own police officers who support him. He needed them to be promoted. Sitwala won't promote those, because SAPS is factionalized like ANC the way it is now. So in the police, you've got those police who are the faction of Bheki Cele as the Minister of Police. You've got the faction of General Sitwale as the National Commissioner. In terms of Section 207, subsection 1 and 2 of the Constitution, it's clear. The President of the head of the Cabinet will appoint a man or a woman as a National Commissioner. Subsection 2, it goes further. That man or woman will be in charge, managing and controlling the South African Police Service. And who's that man? Is the National Commissioner. Then why do we have the minister who is being appointed in terms of Section 91 of subsection 1 of the Constitution? He's appointed on behalf by the President to do the ministerial issues. His responsibility is constitutionally related and is at the Parliament. Now why do we, today we see Minister Cele calling the police, and he will stand on the parade and give the police instruction? You can't see that happening. That process, that issue of calling the police and in the parade, and you call the police being alone, you won't see the National Commissioner there. You won't see the President there. It's the minister has called the police and addressed them in the parade. See, it does not happen. Yeah, okay. So now in terms of this situation of Mr. Meyiwa, we find that this delay is caused by the infight between in the prosecution and in the police. So this is what is happening now. As we've been also representing the 4 of the 5 accused who were arrested for allegedly being involved in the murder of Senzo Meyiwa. Myself and my attorney, we are representing these 4. They've approached us through the family. Then we said, okay, we'll do that. Now, I'm at the situation whereby on the 10th of February, I've requested, we wrote a letter to legal aid and to the prosecutor to say, can we meet on the 10th of February for handing over? Because those people, through their family, they say now they need a private prosecution, they're no longer needing the legal aid. Then when we thought that on the 10th, we'll go to court and the official handing over happened, the prosecutor refused, and the accused were not requisitioned. Because for this process to happen, the prosecutor has to talk to the police. So guys, on the 10th of February, the accused are needed at court. We are going to go to court to hand over to the private lawyers. These people are no longer want a legal aid. They are terminating the legal aid. But now, the prosecution say they don't want. They say, we need this matter. We have already arranged the date of trial on the 11th of April 2022. The handing over will happen on the 11th of April 2022. For which this is going to be, if you want to expedite this matter, a trial, you cannot say on the 11th of April 2022, the handing over must happen to the private lawyers to deal. Because on that day, the private lawyers are not ready. Obviously, there won't be a trial unless you want the private lawyers to fail in representing these people, and of which is intention of the prosecution in the state, that they want us to fail. So currently, we give them another date. Saying the second letter was that you failed to request to make requisition for the accused to come at court. Can we now give another date of the 24th, which we did. We wrote a formal application for disclosure. In this regard, because surprisingly, many people were not aware, In the Senzo Meyiwa's case, there are 2 dockets. The first docket is investigated by Geninda, 636. The second docket is 375 of Makubu and Buthelezi from the Hawks. And these 2 are doing the splendid job. So this is imposter. The Geninda, as is instruction from General Sitole, is the imposter. It's therefore deliberate disturbance because 7 people are protected. So there is indictment. 7 people have been charged. We are in possession of that. But I cannot mention the name. 7 people are charged in relation to case number 375. But surprisingly, when there was supposed to be a signature of the DPP refused to sign indictment of 7 people. Instead, the people, docket 636 was the one which was prosecuted. 5 people are now being prosecuted instead of that. What is the cause of that? As I said, that the family initially needed the services of AfriForum. AfriForum needed to do the private prosecution. So when they wanted a certificate of nolla prosequi, the state or the prosecution refused to issue the state of certificate of nolla prosequi. Instead, these 5 people that we all know that they are arrested, they become the scapegoat to avoid giving the prosecution certificate, nolla prosecution. Because it was only through the nolla prosequi certificate that AfriForum could have proceeded with the private prosecution. So that's where the problem comes, and that's where we see the rule of law has escaped this country. Instead of the state and the police be embarrassed by the AfriForum, they rather embarrass themselves by arresting wrong people. That's where we are at the moment in the Senzo Meyiwa's case. We just hope that through your pressure as a media, the 24th of February will happen, whereby we'll go to court and the state hand over disclosure to us as a private lawyers to carry on this matter. Because it was only accused number 5 who's got the private lawyers. The rest of 1 up to 4, they forced them to be responded by legal aid. But now legal aid's mandate has been terminated on that. But it's not good for the state as they want to delay this matter. So say the 24th of February 2022 is a proposed date for us to go for handing over. That's where the situation is. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's an hour, well, we've got less than an hour left, and I'm sure there's all sorts of questions that folk want to explore. Miles, do you want to actually have some comment about the state of affairs in the prisons?
Just 5 minutes.
Okay.
5 minutes.
Let's take some questions from folk. Anybody wanting to make a point? Yes, Barry.
My question is to Advocate Teffo. Advocate, you've made some very serious allegations against a sitting judge in a matter which you are party to. And of course, you're an officer of the court, being an advocate in this matter. You've accused the judge of predetermining the case, that he is biased towards the state. You've gone further to say that the police protection deployed to the judge is in order for the police to exert pressure on the judge to rule a judgment in their favor. Have you raised any of these issues in the courts, either by way of a recusal application? You only recently joined a recusal application. Have you sought relief in any other court? Have you maybe approached the JSC with a complaint about the judge? Have you done any of those other mechanisms within the legal framework that is available to you as an officer of the court to address these allegations? Because my reading of it, just on the face of it, is that what you've just done here, you've scandalized the court. You've attacked the court, and you haven't presented any evidence whatsoever to back up what you say. What's your response to that?
I answer from here.
No, come here.
Okay, number 1. Okay, firstly, I don't know you, my brother, and from where because I want to address you with your name.
Barry Bateman from ENCA. My apologies.
Okay, Barry. First, as I said, I came in the matter first time. It was the 15th of November, 2021. 2021, 17th of November, Barry, when I first come on the matter. And on that particular day of the 15th of November, we couldn't proceed with court because there was no water at Johannesburg. So we had a deliberate. I can say the time that we spent in court, because we knew that the court won't proceed, we spent 2 hours. It was myself for accused number 1 and 2. That day, I was going to relieve Mr. Pillay. Mr. Pillay is the senior attorney who's got the High Court appearance. He was the one who was representing the accused 1 and 2 before me. And then we were Advocate Naidu for accused number 4, Advocate Nkuna, accused number 3. So then in that, we spoke to the judge, and the prosecutor was there. Judge related the story of, the history of the matter, whereby I was concerned, as in November, the matter was already 7 years, was approximately 8 years. As I said, that 8 years was January the 8th. So it was my concern that why would the matter be so, people be on awaiting trial for so long and the matter without being finalized. You see. So that's where, because it was on my introductory time. Then I was told that this matter was delayed. When I was answered, it was that this matter was delayed by the chop and change of the attorneys by accused number 4, bringing the application every time. That's why he alleged that the media lost interest. See. So now, having said that, he said, all right, we hope you are present here, Advocate Teffo. You are not going to delay this court. So if you say you and your attorney, you have been put in funds. Remember that connotation to say we have been given a mandate, we have been put in funds, and we are happy, and we have accepted a mandate. We want to hit the ground running. So then I said, he asked Judge Msimeki said, even if there can be the time when this family are running, the coffers are running dry, would you want to proceed without being paid? I said, for the justice, I will do that. In the name of justice, I will do that. It cannot be correct that people have been in awaiting trial for 8 years. 7 years. So then that's where, when he started, they say, all right, look, there's a transcript. There has been a lot of application, interlocutory application, many applications, and some of them, they've been dismissed by the court. So now, during December, he said, associate of the judge was there. He said, he's going to assist you, send you all this transcript, everything, and you must know, there is 17,000 pages that you must go. Because on the 17th of January 2022, we expect you to hit the ground running. I accepted that. And indeed, I went through that transcript. That's where I found everything. There were a lot of applications that were brought. Amongst them, the recusal of the judge. It was brought, and it was refused by the judge. And I don't see the reasons given by the court as to why. And there is a very, very big thing that has happened, that which was so obvious, Barry, that can the judge, that's at one stage, whereby the defense was in the chambers of the judge. And at that time, my client, they brought the application for the recusal of the prosecutor. By then it was Advocate Lawrence Gaba. They wanted him to recuse himself. It's similar to the situation of Mr. Zuma and Advocate, the current issue.
Downer.
Yes, Downer, you see. So, ultimately, my client, they brought a lot of application. So for that matter, because they even mentioned a serious thing that is Mr. Gaba has got a conflict of interest in this matter. Somehow, somewhere, Mr. Gaba knows somebody. Mr. Gaba has got a personal issue, vendetta, with accused number 1. So it cannot be, it's not going to be the right thing. And that thing is the outside issue of the text. Remember, my client, 3, accused 1 and 2, including 3, they are involved in the taxi industry. See? So Gaba person knows to be somewhere related into industry world. So just that. And then that application was sent even to the NDPP, Shamila Patoi. They write that. That's when, after, because they brought it firstly to Chauke, Andrew Chauke. Chauke didn't want to recuse that. And that of Gaba also was brought before Musimeki. Musimeki said, made it clear, Judge Musimeki said, as long as the state still needs Gaba to be in, part of this case, I'm not going to allow Gaba to be removed in this case. I've got a cordial good relationship with the Gaba. He's a judge. I've got a good relationship with the state prosecutor. That's the judge. So, after a long persistence, it was then the advocate Shamila Badoi, having seen how compromised will be the prosecution, tell Chauke straight, so no, remove Gaba. Gaba was removed. He's a former prosecutor in this matter. He's been replaced by Khumalo. Yes. So that's point number 1. And then, during the time when they come up, after Gaba was removed, my clients were informed about that. The letter was written to them. So now, when they appear next time, then it was replaced with Khumalo. And this was never said to judge. The judge, the day, I don't remember the date specifically, when was that date, but now it happened. Then Khumalo came, introduced him as a new prosecutor, state prosecutor, taking over from Lawrence Gaba. Then Judge Musimeki was not happy. He was not happy with that. He didn't want to work with Gaba. With Khumalo. He always wanted to work with Gaba. Then that's where, even that day, the court didn't proceed. Then Judge Musimeki requested the defense to say, guys, all right, wait outside my chamber. The defense went outside and wait, because the issue was about Gaba being replaced by Khumalo. Then the judge, when the defense is out, Judge Musimeki phoned DPP, Andrew Chauke, say, why do you remove Gaba? Please, don't remove Gaba. See, that was the discussion. That was the reason that Judge Musimeki asked the defense to go out and he can phone the DPP. Where on earth, Barry, have you ever heard that the judge will talk to the DPP behind the back of the defense? Sorry, you see. Then the defense.
Sorry, Mr. Teffo, my apologies for interrupting. I hear what you're saying. You've spoken for quite a while there. Let me narrow down the question then. You've got these allegations. What have you done with them? Have you brought you yourself?
Yes.
Because what I'm gathering is you haven't brought a recusal application. Is that correct?
I'm still going there.
You're still going there?
Yeah.
Have you brought it?
No. I'm still going to answer that. You cannot ask that question. I just want to answer you.
Okay.
You stopped me prematurely.
All right.
See, yes. So then the court didn't proceed on that day. See. So then after that, the defense. Why the defense knew that Judge Musimeki phoned DPP Andrew Chauke behind their back? It was after. It's Andrew Chauke himself, the DPP, told the defense that Judge Musimeki phoned me on the day that you were there. But Andrew Chauke was not aware that Judge asked the defense to go out when he was talking to him. Then they were so surprised. And they told even the client, the accused, that this is the situation. You see, my colleague rebelled against that. And they also questioned Judge Musimeki. How can you, Judge, talk to the DPP behind our back? Judge Msing didn't deny that. He considered that I did speak to Chauke behind your back. The reason was that it was for administrative purpose. What administrative purpose? Is that actually I don't want Gaba to be removed from this matter. I don't want to work with Khumalo. He's a judge. He can choose who prosecutor I want to work with. That is unheard of. And he is guilty of that because he considered to that fact. Yes. So that is the situation. And then the reason, he was not aware that actually the reason to remove Gaba, it was decision taken by the NDPP, Shamila Patul, after I realized that indeed this situation will be compromised. Remember, when this case started, Shamila Patul was not there. It was Sean Abrams. So all these people, when this Domino Project started, they are no longer there. Only person who survived is General Sitwale. But by that time, he was the Deputy National Commissioner. You see? So, yes. So now, like I'm saying, that the issue of recusal of... I've read everything. The recusal was brought. So it was short time, like I said, I just came in when the court was about to go on recess. The only time when I started with the court now is this year. We started the matter on the 17th of January 2022. And on the 17th of January, my learned colleague, I was standing in for my learned colleague, Advocate Nkuna, for the accused number 3. He was not there. And obviously, and given that situation, the court couldn't proceed because of the absence of Nkuna. So what happened, that's where we had this opportunity to talk about why media is no longer there. You see? And then the issue of the transfer of our client. Our client want to go back to Sun City, where it can be convenient for them when they are visited, where it will be convenient for me to go and visit them, to consult with them. If I can tell you now, until today, as I said, all of us, but me in particular, because I came late, you see, the only chance that I can talk to my client is when they're at court. Do you think that I'm ready to proceed with a trial without even consulting my client? Only time, even in court, you don't consult. Sometimes you find that, in particular, accused number 3 and 4, they will always come at court after 10, sometimes at 11. Recently, accused number 4 was brought at court something to 12. You see, this is the situation what is happening. And then for the issue of, yes, this is a serious allegation, and I say deliberately because the judge conceded to the fact that, yes, I spoke to the DPP behind your back because I don't want Gaba to be removed.
Okay,
My apologies, I just need a follow-up on
please
that.
do, yeah.
So you haven't pursued any mechanism within the legal framework as an officer of the court to address the allegations of bias against the presiding officer. Is it appropriate for an officer of the court to then turn to the public to make these allegations, which are, as I put to you, is in effect scandalizing the court? Is this proper, the manner in which you are making these allegations against a sitting judge in a trial you are party to?
Okay. The court that we are sitting in, Barry, is not a so normal proceedings there. So that application you are talking about is something that has to be mooted by the defense. By the defense, even the same judge is aware of the possibility of that. Is aware of the possibility of that. And then the other thing that I have to answer to that is that it has never happened. It has never happened. And you need to have assessment of the crime intelligence to see the judge is in danger or the prosecutor is in danger in a certain court. It cannot be the arrangement of South African police, in particular, from the office of the National Commissioner, to whom he has to make sure that people are convicted, to say these people, 10 police officers will be there to guard the judge. they are the bodyguard of the judge. When I asked the judge, who is in danger? Is there any assessment of the danger for you to deserve to have 10 bodyguards and your prosecutor? Even previously, even Gaba had the bodyguards. It's only, I said, it's only me and my colleague who don't have the bodyguard.
I think
That was my question.
I'm just conscious that other people would want to ask a question, ask questions, because I mean, you've hit on a hot button issue. Process, how do we ensure when there is a miscarriage of justice that there's a good mechanisms for dealing with them? And it also does, and I have to say, make me uncomfortable to think that we should have to go straight to the media on such a thing like this. But I do think that what we really are wanting as a takeaway from this is the very severe state of the criminal justice system that seems to be implied here, and how we can find a partnership with the German media to ensure that at least when that court reconvenes, that there's proper visibility to what's happening. The frustration that I hear Dan expressing, remember that I'm a social worker dealing with, isn't being intense. And my concern is that the systems of the checks and balances that should be in place to deal with these things, because of just the general state of disarray in our country, are just not immediately accessible. So yes, in that sense we are saying, can the media help us do some thorough investigations? Can we build alliances so that we can not further polarize and compromise the independence of the judiciary and the courts and the police? And that really, I think, is the underlying concern that we come here. We don't come with a particular factional interest on either side. We're simply interested in justice, not just justice being done, but seen to be done. Any other questions? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sorry, I have a question about the Senzo matter. So, Advocate Teffo, have you been appointed by officially appointed by all 4 of the accused? You said that there are 5 accused, but you've been appointed by 4 of them.
That's correct. This thing happened on the 13th.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that you are?
So my name is Sarah later.
Okay, sir. Yes. That's correct. This happened on after the press conference of 13th of December, while we were in University of Pretoria.
So have you consulted with all 4 of those clients?
Yeah, let me finish to say that. Because remember, during that press conference, Senzo Meyiwa was there. And he made it clear that in November we appointed Advocate Teffo as a watching brief. It's the same person who appointed the AfriForum. Yes. And then Singobile Mapisa, the sister of accused number 4. You are right. Then was there. She also related the plight that is facing by that. It was from that point of view. The Mapisas and the Meyiwas, they've got a good relationship in this situation. Then it started there, whereby after that we had a meeting, 3 of us, and they said, no, this is the situation insofar as the family of Mapisa are concerned. They will want your service and your attorney service. But I was skeptical. Then we look into that. I said, no, let me check. Is there any interest in, conflict of interest in this? Because currently I'm the watching brief. Yes. And then, okay, ironically as well, the sister to the person who had been arrested to be alleged of being the murderer of Senzo. The family of the bereaved family is sympathizing with the cause of this person. Say, no, it's not you. And all of these people are not them. And then, for your information, sir, is that it's so, I don't know whether it's by design or default, that you don't know. These 5, they are all from Nongom. Can it happen that if these people were friends when they grow up, They know each other. They cannot be alleged of killing Senzo when they are in Gauteng. All these people are from Kwanango. They know each other before. And they did stay in hostel in Fosloras or Katlehong, you see. So this is embarrassing. I mean, it's a surprise, you see, to say these are the people. So it was then said, my brother, because you, Advocate Teffo, you have been indirectly fighting our fight together with the Meyiwa family. That you are all saying that we are not people who are responsible for the matter of Senzo. The family know who must be arrested, and you are in this together with them. And then you also know who must be arrested. So we need your services, because we cannot rely on the legal aid. The legal aid, they have failed us. They've deliberately imposed the legal aid to represent us, knowing that the legal aid has got a limitation. When you're represented by the legal aid, it's like you are represented by the lawyer for Mahala, the state. That's where I was requested. And I spoke to my attorney. I said, this is a situation. Then we said, no, there is no conflict of interest here, because we are of the same issue to say. When I represent these people, and remember, these people were arrested under case number 636 of Gininda and Sitole. And then we needed the people who must be arrested under case number 375 of Makubu and Butelezi.
But have you seen those documents? Have you seen both of those documents?
On the 10th, only on the 10th, when prosecutor, Advocate Baloi, refused that we should go to court and make it official handy over, there is only this guy, Herman Albert, who was representing accused number 4, Mapisa, who is at the local. And then the legal aid has been sympathetic to my cause and to these people's cause. Advocate Mjuta is a legal aid manager in Pretoria. He said, no, we spoke, nice. And during December we also spoke, but he was at home. He came back on the 20th of January. December, I told him this, then he advised me that we have been given a mandate of this accused. He said, all right, Advocate Teffo, what you can do for me, because I'm still at home, I'm on vacation. Write me a letter, email. He gave me his email. Then said, write me a letter and then show me that you and your attorney, you have been put in funds by these people. Then when I come back on the 20th, we will take from there, make sure that the justice should happen. That is a manager of the legal aid. Yes. So then he came back. On the 20th, after the 20th, I think the 22nd, no, the 20th was Friday, if I'm not mistaken, of January. Then I only started to talk to him on the 24th. It was Tuesday. Yes. Then I reminded him. He said, okay, no, yeah, I understand. Just I will talk to Baloi about that, because we really don't want to be embarrassed. He said, as a legal aid, we don't want to be embarrassed, but this matter is for the public international interest. So we need things to go smooth. As a legal aid, I will make sure that I talk to the state, to Advocate Baloi, to say, let's expedite this matter. Because if these people, Herman, who is representing Mapisa, is the first person whom I talked to in December, is the one who advised me about legal aid manager. And he said, Herman said, no, in terms of Section 35 of the Constitution, the accused, they do have the right to be responded by the lawyer of their choice. And if you guys are happy about that, from the legal point of view, legal aid point of view, I will accept that I'm terminated. And unfortunately, I'm on leave as well. I cannot help you. But next year, as soon as we open, I will make sure that you get the disclosure, the docket, 636, for which I got it on the 10th of...
You do have it.
I've got one docket, but I'm left with the disclosure for 3. You see.
So you have but the disclosure must be the same for each client, otherwise it will be a conflict of interest for you to be represented.
No, the way the situation is, remember, these people are represented by the different judicare. They may all be under legal aid, but they've got a different judicare. Judicare is a private lawyer, private advocate who's appointed by the legal aid. So what should happen, this process legally, it should be that we should officially appear before the court. Is what legal aid is saying. Even Advocate Malesela was saying, if all of the judiciary that we have appointed, they cannot be all of them, they cannot manage the date of the 10th. I, as the legal aid manager, or my colleague, Mr. Albert Herman, who was representing accused number 4, it's either me or both of us will go to court to make a handover. You see, will represent those who are not there. The only reason that we did not go to court on the 10th of February is because the state, the advocate of the state, the prosecutor, did not talk to the police, deliberately so, to make a requisition. Because we cannot just, all the lawyers, just go there without the accused. That's the process. So the problem is that it's on the side of the state. The state is deliberately trying to delay this. That's why I came, I said.
But why is the state deliberately trying to delay this? Like, what is their interest in delaying this?
They've got their own reason. They've got their own reason, which is not, which is a pure violation of the rights of these people.
Well, I think that's the question really, is why we want journalists to go and ask them, please.
Yes. You see.
And just to help interrogate why they, from the official position, these extraordinary contradictions. I mean, with the Senzo Meyiwa case, it's just so often. I mean, since when do you have a watching brief, the same lawyers, from the family and the 5 accused? You know, there's, and the concern which, you know, Advocate Teffo raised is how traumatized the Meyiwa family is through this. And so it's those concerns which I'm wanting us to bring the humanity back into the situation. And Barry, before you ask, I just wanted to say, anybody that's online that wants to ask a question,
okay,
you're welcome to do so.
Let me finish this for that. Surprisingly now, I was told that the handover will happen at the Pretoria High Court. Now, the matter we know that, how did the matter now assume the jurisdiction of Pretoria? Well, this matter naturally is from South. That is another thing that on the day of handover is another question that has to be answered by the state.
But I mean, I think that the last judge in the last court meeting, the judge said that court cases, the courtroom is too small, they will move it to Pretoria. So I think that reason was given.
All right, if you know about that, it's fine. Yes, but yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, Malungelo.
I just wanted to ask.
Just introduce yourself.
One of the things that you spoke about in your statement, especially when it comes to the Senzo Meyiwa case, was that the people that are before the court are people that have been framed, but you did not, elaborate on that. And when you started talking about it here, but you did not actually tell us what you based that on.
Okay.
Just briefly, I mean, if you're saying that they have the wrong people, who are the right people?
Okay, thanks, Manu. These are allegations from the defense. Remember, I'm the defense.
Yeah.
Yes, and I got the mandate. Then, if the people say we are not, and then that client and the lawyer privilege, yeah. But there are other things of the substance that I cannot reveal. So, what we can say at the moment is that AfriForum, because you guys, I know that you are saying Harinel is watching brave and everything. Let me clarify this point. When Sifiso approached the AfriForum and then they agreed to assist in the private prosecution, it was for the purpose of private prosecution and private prosecution alone. Yes, there is no way that AfriForum can be a watching brief. So they wanted to assist with that, private prosecution. So now, once the police arrested certain people to say, no, we've arrested these people as the suspects, then it means that the prosecuting authority will no longer issue the non-prosecute certificate. You understand that? And only the ticket for the prosecution, private prosecution, to continue. That's when the prosecution has issued the non-prosecute certificate to say, okay, in this regard, we don't prosecute anybody. Your private prosecution, you can continue. So, AfriForum has played a very, very important role in putting the pressure to the police and the prosecution, because they consider that for us to be embarrassed by the AfriForum. We rather embarrass ourselves. Because once we issue the certificate of non-prosecute, AfriForum and the Sifiso family, they will do the right thing that they're supposed to do. They will arrest the people that we don't need to be arrested. They will make sure that the people whom we don't want to be charged, they will be charged. Because here, don't ask me who's that and what, but it's a fact that we found that the people, there are people who are protected under this 375. Even the investigators of the 375, when the handing over is done, they will be there. You see. So I cannot mention the name of the people who we think.
Who's being protected and why?
No, that is a good question. No.
Please, you called us here to say that you're going to give us details about this. I'm asking you, you're saying that people who are being protected.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I'm asking you, who are those people and who's protecting these people? So I think you ought to answer that question. Who is being protected? And who's protecting this person?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious.
No, I want it to come from him. It's
all right.
Obvious, John. It must come from him. He must tell us.
These people we claim that they are protected, they are not before the court. So just know that 7 people are protected by the prosecution and the police. That's enough. Until these people, that's why the battle that we are fighting is to make sure that 5 people that were talked by Kele as they break through, that 5 people have been arrested. What Kele say is not true. And on the 22nd of December, I was on interview with Bongizwani on 404. Then I said, I bring this allegation still again. I said, no. There are people who are trying to dissuade me to further assist as a watching brief in the Meyiwa case. And she since said she will invite these people whom I allege that they are interfering and all those things. So now we need the force, even those who are supporting me and the family of Meyiwa. We want 7 people who saw what happened to Senzo on the 26th of October 2014 to be arrested, go to court and explain what happened. Because the 5 people who are arrested on the, I don't know whether should I say they are arrested on the 25th or on the 26th of November 2020, because we were informed only on the press conference by Mr. Kele on the 25th that the people are arrested. They will appear before the court tomorrow on the 26th. What we saw people appearing at the Boxburg court and they refused to get inside the door. They say, no, we are not. The people who must be arrested, they've got money. They cannot be here. We are the scapegoat. So now for your information and for your convenience, is that's why now we tend to be the lawyers of these people who have been arrested. We want them to be released. These are wrong people. Yes, they are scapegoat of the 7 people. Yes.
Good. We have a question from online. Can you, Aris? We had one question from one of the people online. Just unmute.
Good afternoon.
Okay. Yeah,
my name is Ari Danigas, and I am the Honorary Research Fellow for Blueprint for Free Speech, which is international human rights defender and advocate of free speech and whistleblowers. I have a question for Advocate Teffo. So, Advocate Teffo, do you feel that your clients and you have been treated fairly by the authorities and the judiciary in South Africa? I just need a yes or a no answer at this point. And if not, is it fair to say that due to your non-confidence on the judiciary system in South Africa, as well as a alleged corrupted police, is it fair to say that you were forced to make an external public disclosure by the media in order to secure a fair response as well as to protect yourself from further intimidation and harassment? Thank you.
Thank you. Before you finish, remember, I'm talking about two cases here. Are you referring to the clients in both cases or in particular case?
I'm referring to your. I'm referring also to your ordeal and to your own experience. I believe that you've been, harassed or intimidated.
Okay.
And also to the cases you were representing.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Ari.
Yes or no?
I'll say yes or no, and then allow me to support my answer. Because I don't want to paint the judiciary in this country as bad. I've got very much confidence in our judiciary in this case, in this country. Then the few rotten elements maybe in the judiciary cannot persuade me to believe that we've got a totally rotten system in this country. There are those here and there. And once the aim also is to make a clarion call, an indication to the media also to say, when there are courts, we would also praise that when there are courts, our courts can allow the media to make the coverage of the proceedings so that the public themselves can be the judges for on their own to see what this is what thing is not happening. This is happening is wrong or not wrong. So there isn't to be here. As I said, I spoke to the Deputy Director of Communication in the Office of the CJ, where she said, the media is a representative of the public. So that in the current case where we are in Johannesburg High Court, we feel that the rights of my clients, yes, are violated. They are not treated well because they are refused to have their families to be in court. Because you should know, when you are in court, it's not nice to be in court. It's not nice to be accused. You need the support, you see, from your family, from your friends and everybody. But in this case, at Johannesburg Court, my clients are refused to have their family, to give them, to have a moral and that sentimental support. They are even refused the media to come in court. Judges got the 10 bodyguards that are there to prevent the media. At one stage, it was on the 3rd of February, where I had even altercation with one of the people, is a captain, who is the supervisor of this bodyguards of the judge. He said to me, I'm an anarchy, because he harassed one of the person from the media that I invited. So that's why I said, the mistake or something that are not right done by certain members within the judiciary cannot persuade me to taint the whole system as corrupt. Because in my second year as a practicing advocate, I had the judgment of the Constitutional Court. It was a labor matter, whereby I returned someone back to work. It was in the Department of Health after 10 years. The Constitutional Court brought that person back, said his dismissal was unfair. He has to go back and report at work directly. So I still have much hope and believe in the judicial system in this country.
Can I just also, Gary?
Sorry, John. Sorry, I need to understand something, Advocate. Still, though, my question to you is very direct. We would like to know overseas. Do you feel like you have been treated fairly on this ordeal that you have with the authorities? I think I just need an answer.
Okay.
Yes or no?
No, I haven't been treated fairly. I've been treated fairly.
You have been treated fairly.
Yeah, I've been harassed. I've been harassed.
Okay.
My friend.
You've been harassed. So
yeah.
Is it fair then to say that since you know you've been harassed, is it fair to say that you also, out of maybe desperation and in sense of self-preservation, you turn into an external public disclosure via the media? The reason why I'm saying that is because I heard a journalist earlier on, I think by the name of Gary, I might misspell the name, asking you if it was ethical or the right approach for you to speak to the media because you're an advocate.
Yes.
And I like to highlight the fact that in Europe, the whole European directive of 2019, I think, for the Public Disclosure Act, has a specific legislation that allows people in your case, if they feel they have non-confidence to an internal reporting, to actually go and to an external reporting, and that can be by an NGO or by the media directly. They've actually are protected for that. Thank you.
Exactly, you are right. And, to say that to also to that question and for clarification or satisfaction of Bear as well. Let me the scenario. What happened in court? It was on the 3rd, on Thursday, when every time when I try to speak, the current judge in this matter in Johannesburg High Court, he hates to hear what I'm saying. He doesn't want me to talk. Every time I talk, he interferes. He interferes with me because it came clear that on the 4th, when after the whole disarray, it became clear that where I was told that judge is not comfortable to work with you in this matter. So to extend that, I lost it. I lost it. And I told him straight, I said, I've been calling you a justice. I've been according you a respect, but you don't respect me. Every time I try to speak, but when the state, when Advocate Khumalo is talking, you would listen like you are not there. But once Advocate Teffo is speaking, you don't want to hear what he's saying. This is unfair. How am I going to make sure that I protect the rights of these people? It cannot be correct. And I've been calling you justice, justice. I don't know whether you want, I'm on record saying, I cannot call you my Lord. Because my Lord and your Lord is the same. You are not my Lord. And I don't worship you. That's what I said on the 4th. I'm on record.
But can I just wrap this thing up? Because what Aris is pointing out to is really why Whistleblowers for Change is really about. What sounds to me, Daniel Teffo came as a whistleblower, and what we're now looking to do is seeing a fundamental revision of the Protected Disclosures Act. And what Blueprint for Free Speech have been helping us see is the current weakness in our legislation, in the PDA, only allows for internal disclosures. And when you make internal disclosures, you then find people being intimidated and a weaponized use of disciplinary procedures to intimidate and shut them up. And we're seeing that happen with other people, Martha Ngoyi and Prasa, Tiro Holele, Patricia Mashale in the firearms registry in the Free State. And the story that you're hearing today is a story I've heard from several whistleblowers about their utter frustration at the failure of the system to actually allow for the ventilation of their deeper concerns. And that's, so you're quite right, Barry, that's why we're here. And that's why we're asking the media to assist us. Notwithstanding the fact that, of course, the levels of frustration that people find, often they kind of get into a situation of such anger. That's why social workers and counsellors are also now coming into the system to support them. Because what I've seen, the travesty of what happens, is that when they misstep, because of the circumstances that they find themselves in, and they get nailed again for that. So it's like, how do we then stop that system of way in which it's the truth about power. We try to speak truth to power, but there's a deeper truth about power, that it doesn't want the truth, and all it can do, it has no defense against the truth. And what does it do? It attacks. It attacks, it attacks, it attacks. Dan has been imprisoned without proper trial on several occasions now because of a retaliation strategy against him, because he's got a confidence of a lot of police officers who are actually serving and wanting to serve this country as good police officers should, finding them suspended, even when he brings applications to have them returned to it, there's been a frustration. So I guess the point that really perhaps to sum things up and to bring closure here is why I'm here. I started out and I told you that 6 years ago, Bazuka Khadebe was shot and killed, and there's still been no fair process of. I spoke to a police officer after Frank Dutton suggested this to me. He says, but the police can offer a reward. I spoke to a senior police officer and I said, can you not offer a reward for any information leading to the arrest of Bazuka Khadebe's killers? Nothing. One of the journalists offered to kind of try and put up a reward. Now that's 6 years ago. So you can see why, in a sense, losing patience. Lastly, just to highlight this point, because I've been asked to do this on behalf of one of the other members of this group. Thabisa Zulu, you might well know her story. If you haven't, Mandy Wiener's book features him prominently. Thabisa Zulu has been exposing corruption in the KZN area in local government. His close friend, Senzo Meyiwa, was actually assassinated. People were arrested and in prison. He told us on our group the other day, with absolute shock and horror, that they were released on bail without the state even opposing it. And he has had to say goodbye to his 9-year-old son because he fears that he's not going to see him again, because he is concerned that they're going to now kill him. So do you see, folk, this is why I'm so angry about the way in which I now hear Dan's story and how Senzo Meyiwa's story and all. I said, you know, there's a rot in the system that's so deep that we are going to have to, you know, join forces from all sides in civil society and in the media if we are going to expose it. The one thing we do have is a Bill of Rights and a freedom of the press, and it means a responsibility to use that freedom in as much and as determined a way as possible, is to challenge the false narratives, to go underneath the sort of the superficial, and to really ask the tough questions, including questions that we need to answer to. I'm not in any way asking for you to give us an easy time just because I'm a social worker who should be, you know, languishing in retirement. We really need a commitment, a rededication to make sure that the human rights are recognized as not belonging to governments but to us, and to ensure that what happens in the rest of this year in both these cases, that there is justice not just done but seen to be done, irrespective of how we might feel about the guilt or innocence of anybody involved, because that is what a Bill of Rights is about. Miles, you here too, and I was hoping you could say a point about the way prisoners get treated in prison. They must also, the state must be held accountable for the fact that just because they are convicted offenders does not mean that their right to dignity and to health and all these other things, they might have their freedom deprived, but that doesn't give people the excuse to actually leave them in situations of such dreadful things. I have had clients who have been imprisoned as offenders and convicted, and I've had to try and intervene in situations where their children can't get access to them, where anyway, that's another day, a story for another day. Last words from you?
Yes, okay, thank you, John. As John said, I've been made a rogue by the state. It's not only my client in a criminal fraternity, also my client in the labor. I'm also representing the police, as John has said. I've represented I've won, out of 20 cases, I've won 19 cases. The police must be returned to work. They refuse to return my client to work because they are represented by me. As we speak now, there are members of the police in Gauteng, Northwest, Free State. So, in essence, the provincial commissioner of these 3 provinces I've mentioned, the national commissioner, General Ketastole, and the Minister of Police are in contempt of court because they refuse to return the police back at work, despite the fact that there is a court order. Why the former president was arrested in contempt, and why this police minister, the national commissioner, and the provincial commissioner cannot be arrested to refuse the members. Just because if they are fighting against me, it should not affect the poor members who are supposed to resume their duties. I've been saying that these people have been alleged of corruption and all these things. They attended the disciplinary hearing. Then after they found guilty and been dismissed, they challenged their dismissal to the relevant forums, and they win the case. Instead of being returned to work, they are refused because they are represented by Advocate Teffo. I'm called a problematic advocate by Mr. Cele himself. He say I'm a problematic advocate. He ordered arrest on me 3 times. I went to Sun City. I spent 9 days. I went to Hoshimampuru. I spent 10 days. By Cele and Sitole's order that I must be arrested, I'm a problem. That's what I can say. It's the reason that that we know. Now that I'm in the criminal also, my clients in the criminal system are also treated the same, by the same system. That should not be allowed. Thank you.
Okay. Lastly, just to say, the Mail and Guardian will be, I think it might be up already, running a thought leader piece by Mary de Haas, in which she frames this thing very beautifully from her long experience as a violence monitor in KZN, as somebody that's been helping and guiding us through this thing. So I would just refer that for you to kind of help you as journalists to get your heads around it. I do understand this is a complex, complicated, and fearful process, but I really do believe the tide is turning now. Because we've got people of such extraordinary courage, like Malbudu, like yourself, who are ready to say truth matters. We're not going to allow ourselves to be intimidated. Thank you very much.